How do the tacos tie in?
That so when we first started out, we actually one year literally did when you go to the gym, not just to check it off the box, but go to actually like hang out and enjoy yourself there with people that you care about. It makes it a lot more easy to be consistent, makes you a lot more loyal to that gym and setting. So I really like those kind of events that foster those friendships. Every first Saturday morning, we do pancake breakfast at the gym. So I'm literally there with my griddle, cooking pancakes on my desk, and people come in and sign up, and I'm like, I'll get you after. I got to flip these cakes real quick.
Can't start the podcast without a nice soundboard. Hello and welcome to Gym Worlds Worldwide. I am your host, John Franklin. Joined with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mateo Lopez, wearing a new hat. What does it say?
It says, stay rad.
Man's a legend. Mm-hmm.
I will do my best.
2 Ds.
I will do my best.
I think you're wearing a new hat, too. I've never seen it.
Yes, this is...
what does yours say?
Oracle Red Bull Racing.
No.
Joe, what does your hat say?
I'm also wearing a new hat. It says Unleash Strength.
Nice.
The only one who's actually on brand.
Branding.
Teo and I own a company too. You wouldn't know based off of our hats, but at least Teo's wearing the shirt. Yeah, so there we go.
There we go.
It's called Kilo. Our guest today, Joe Strada of Unleashed Strength, uses it, and we'll get him a Kilo shirt and a Kilo hat as well. So maybe someone will come to the podcast in actual branding.
There we go.
I had a dream last night. This is not related, but I did just flex for everyone. I literally had a dream, John, that you said I wasn't eating enough and my arms were getting too small last night.
It's a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. It literally kept me up. I got up at 4 and I was like, what am I supposed to do to fix this? And now at 4 in the morning.
The only thing that I'm worried about for you, Teo, and I message you frequently, is just your fiber intake. You know, I do check in, listeners. I do check in very periodically.
He does keep me accountable on my fiber.
That Teo's eating enough fiber, you know.
That's a great friend.
Yeah, I had raspberries and Ezekiel bread today. Hoping to have some black beans. We're still early.
My man is regular, but we're not here to talk about Teo's fiber intake. We're here to talk about Joe. So Joe,
and his fiber intake.
Tell us about are you hitting 35 grams a day?
I feel like I'm pretty. I've been making more of an effort lately. I will say, I've gotten a little bit more on that health kick. You know, that kind of midlife when you're like, oh man, I should do more than just lift and take care of my heart and eat somewhat healthy and not just pound Burger King, you know. So got some kids, got a wife, and got people to take care of. So let's stay healthy. Let's live long and prosper, right? So,
and that, dear listeners, comes from fiber. Fiber is the source. You know, since we're transitioning out of fitness business stuff, you know, we need a new angle here. We're gonna become a fiber podcast where we just ask people how much fiber they're getting.
I don't know, man. Ask the carnivores, and they'll say you don't need fiber. So,
all right.
And that's the end of our show, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Like, subscribe, and if you get one thing from today's episode, text a buddy and make sure they're eating enough fiber. All right. That's if you want to walk away with one piece of alpha, that's what you're going to do.
Eat your veggies, eat your starches.
So, Joe, aside from fiber, what do you spend your days doing? What's your business?
Oh man, I spend a lot of time at the gym, and it's not just for lifting, but it's for actually, running one. Wife and I opened Unleashed Strength Gym over here in Northern Virginia about just over 6 years ago. So right before COVID. Who knew that was going to happen? It was August of 2019, so we had about 6 or 7 months to get off the ground before that whole mess hit. That was great. I'm sure we can dive into that in a little bit. But yeah, we're almost 6 years strong. Got a great membership base. We actually just switched to Kilo, I think earlier this year, and that's been really fun. We've been lately, I think we've had Kilo for website now though for almost a year, I think. And then you finally got me on the CRM once we realized I needed a little more organization to my communication and lead management, etc. So I've been working with you guys now for several months, and that's been awesome.
I had no idea. We should probably look that up before the show starts. That's great, Joe. Happy to hear it.
You just click the link. So before every show, even though it sounds like we're horribly unprepared, there's a docket, And if we just click the first link in the docket, Teo, you'd see this is a Kilo website. And in case you need to, you can go down the bottom, and every one of those websites has Kilo on it. The ones
Yeah,
we
I see that now.
Back to
But
branding.
I'll make sure when the research is being done, we put it in the headline. Okay.
To be fair, I did go to the Instagram first.
Nice.
So
you've seen
I
Have
wanted to
you thought about putting Kilo in your Instagram bio, Joe?
Yeah. And then I would have actually probably got it that way. I did go to both Instagrams first and read the text. So, but yeah.
So you've seen me make
absolutely
a fool
right.
of myself in front of thousands of people.
So tell us what kind of training is it? Because your setup's a little different than the typical Kilo gym. Though there are many, and but you got kind of a cool setup here. So let's talk about it.
Sure. So we started as an open gym concept. I personally was ever like super passionate about training, like one-on-one. We had done it. I did it early on when we opened up, just for like, we needed every dollar we could get at that point. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to take on clients and eventually get to the point where I can kind of step back, and I'd prefer not to spend my time running like just the one-on-ones. As awesome as it is to teach people, help people out at the gym, I want to, run the business from a larger scale perspective. And so that was kind of always a goal. So made a lot of, obviously a lot of mistakes early on. We kind of just allowed people to train at the gym and didn't really make much money off of it besides membership. So really got in the world of like, I know you guys are partners with Two Brain. And so kind of started learning more about, how they run their systems, that kind of thing. And saw the great concept of why let someone set up a hot dog stand in your restaurant. I was like, you know what, it makes a lot of sense. And we had a couple not so great incidences of just like poor training experiences, and then these conflicts that came up that it's like I don't really have a lot of control over because so and so stole a client from me. I was like, well, if I don't run training, that's your problem. Then a couple of other like a little more serious where we had a weird dude at the gym that we needed to deal with, and I was like, all right, we got to take control of our training. Plus, hearing about all the missed revenue that we were experiencing at that point. So I took a couple of my trainers that were there independently and said, yeah, it's, who wants in on this, kind of, help me develop this whole program. So it's been a little over a year now. We started early 2024 with our own like in-house personal training, which is already now making up almost 35 or 40% of our revenue as of last month. So it shot up very quickly. That was a huge benefit to us. So now we're obviously majority of members still open gym, but we have a number of clients now going on for like 40, a little over 40 clients between one-on-one, small group, and online training, which has been, awesome. And now I'm also able to provide a lot of, help people, my other trainers actually make more money too. And they're all doing well. A couple of guys that are actually like fully sustained on like training at the gym now, which is wild. So a little bit of a hybrid system now. And it's been great.
So I'm a little confused. Did it start online first or how did it start, the brand?
Yeah, the brand itself, I knew for a long time, like, I mean, we're talking like we started our Instagram page. It was 2014, 2015, not right out of school. Shortly after, my wife and I started making, my buddy and I originally were going to open a gym, and that was like our one day goal, in however many years. And that was years before we ever opened. We were just like, let's just start posting content. Like, early, like I said, 2015, maybe we just started making silly things, updates on, hey, we're going to pick up some equipment, whatever. So it's been cool to look back on that. But then my wife took over for my buddy, and we decided as we got closer and closer, we were able to start kind of, documenting some of that journey of like opening the actual gym. And so, yes, it was a brand online. It wasn't anything significant. We weren't like coaching or anything. It was just literally us posting workout summaries kind of thing as people did. And then it was cool as like I said, it kind of just started, the gym took over that account as its actual official brand, then branded account. So
one of the things that I thought was pretty interesting is you guys have like a pretty decent sized following on TikTok. So 33,000 followers, 1.9 million likes. So it sounds like you had a couple big bangers here. How did you crack the code here and figure TikTok out? Because I don't think we've ever talked to somebody who was like their biggest following was on TikTok.
I'm embarrassed now because I have not been posting very much on TikTok lately. I got in on TikTok, I would say, when it was, I feel like prime days of TikTok, when it was like just, it was hilarious. It was just good fun. I feel like I hate the shop feature, honestly, on TikTok now. It's those, every other video is an ad from someone trying to sell energy drinks or protein bars, and I'm just like, it's kind of hard to like. It's not as entertaining anymore for me personally, and I've definitely like, it hurt reach wise. And so we were, I mean, there was a point where we were doing, posting a video every, I was really consistent, and just it was a lot easier to find really good trends and stuff. And it was more than just sound trends. I feel like it was actually like trend videos where you had to do something. So I kind of just started making stupid videos. I mean, it's led to definitely members and like awareness for sure. But then it kind of, the attention focused, in my opinion, the attention switched kind of over from TikTok to Instagram. I was getting more natural like viewership or reach, I guess, on Instagram. So kind of switched back over to there and have been growing. It's been harder, but we had a couple pop off last year. We had like a stretch where everything I was posting was like going viral. It was awesome. And then it's been okay lately. It's just been kind of mid reach, to be honest. I don't know. I've been trying different styles, some of the higher quality like fun edits, some of the just like meme videos. So yeah, I don't know. It's just been a lot of testing lately, and trying to see what's sticking. I haven't found like my consistency yet, and a kind of a consistent format yet. But
I do see that it says here on your personal, Meme Lord is one of the titles. I guess I should have addressed you by your proper title when we first got on here.
can't believe it.
But yeah, so I guess I know you said you're still figuring it out, but what I guess where do you draw your inspiration from and figure out what you are going to post?
Sure. Well, I said recently it's been kind of, I've been throwing a lot of different stuff at the wall to see what sticks, because I know like right now Instagram and stuff is shifting a lot towards like storytelling, and I kind of got down that rabbit hole of like telling stories and like high quality edits and that kind of thing. But the problem is for me, I can do it and I like doing it, but at the same time it takes hours. I mean, it's a whole thing to do like the higher quality stuff. And maybe it's also just I'm still kind of fine tuning the process, and I could probably get faster at it. But at the same time, it's like, well, if that video is not going to pop, it's like, how many times do I have to try? Like how many hours is it worth to do that when I could make 10, my biggest videos I've made. I mean, I did a 5 million view video last year, a fake fail squat. So it was me first time squatting 4 plates, and I got halfway up and came back down, sat at the bottom and stood back up with it, just kind of like shaking my head. Everyone's like yelling, "Hey, you suck," kind of whatever. And everyone was really confused, and it was popped off. It was great. Again, that took me 10 seconds to make. And that was the biggest, so some of my, our biggest success videos have taken me such a short amount of time. And I also just really enjoy making those short quality stuff, or the short content that pops and it's funny and viral. So, but then I'm like, well, I know, I want to try those other things where it's like, so it's been a balance. I like just finding trends, and sometimes it's all completely original inspiration. Other times it's trending sounds, trending videos, and, hopping on that kind of stuff. So
my other question, I guess, there is like, do you get a member from a 5 million view video? Do you know? It's hard to know.
We have. So I know, like I said, I've had people when our TikTok was running, when our TikTok was like, I was more consistent there, I was definitely getting people that found us on TikTok. And I think, and now just you talking through it, I'm like, why aren't I posting there more? Because I feel like TikTok has a little more, it's interesting the way they're able to like, I mean, I'm watching videos and I get things that are like near me pretty often. I feel like, oh, check out this hiking trail in Northern Virginia. I'm like, whoa, that's weird. And so their location is interesting. And I think even like back in the day, it seems like, I mean, I had videos pop off. I remember one particular was a 800,000 video, and it was like me literally sitting at my desk talking about like the equipment we had or whatever. And someone comments, "Oh my gosh, I live right down the street." I'm like, whoa, that's weird. So yeah, you are just inspiring me to get back on TikTok, I feel like, and just at least repost stuff there. But
problems solved, solving problems out here.
It was again a little different with like organic edits. There was a lot more. I feel like I was more regularly going viral for sure, or like getting good reach there, and it's been a little harder to get traction lately, just across, and maybe that's just across platforms. I know that happens naturally. You get a new platform, organic reach is amazing. They figure out ads, they figure out they want to make their money. And so they start restricting organic reach, so you start paying for it. So like it's kind of natural to it to an extent. So be interested to see what the next platform is. Who knows? We'll try to get early on something else.
That's helpful to know, just because like I had a former gym member, friend, client, and him and his wife like quit their jobs to become like a YouTube travel couple. And I was like, how are you getting millions of views? And he was like, well, a lot of them are from the Philippines. And so it's like not really. So it's interesting to hear how for you, when you've been posting, people are finding it locally.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously, like I think there's a natural thing where naturally organic attention from like people sharing stuff, and like your members see it, they share it to their friends. Their friends are obviously local, so they're going to see it. They just like having a online presence and just like kind of always being on people's minds for that Northern Virginia gym area. So if someone needs a gym, they're like, you know what, I'm going to, I've had people, and I mean, I'm sure probably like you guys, I probably saw Kilo 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever. And by the time I actually bought, it was a year's long nurture from content or people talking about it or whatever. So it's the same thing with memberships too. I had someone sign up, I talked to them before the gym opened and they messaged me 3 years later and said, hey, what, can I come sign up or whatever? So I was just like, you never know who you reach from that kind of content, even if it's only a few likes or a few thousand views or whatever, and someone goes, wants to check you out, they pop open your stuff, they see whatever. And I've always used it too. Again, a lot of our stuff is kind of goofy. And I think for me, I get tired a little bit of like the hardcore gym scene and just everything's super tough and everything has to be the most intense and the most bad. And just like, it's kind of fun when like we've got some strong people at the gym and like everyone's just kind of having a good time and still training hard, but like I think it makes it a little more approachable, maybe, and kind of removes a little bit of that barrier to entry to like come to the gym. It's like, oh, here's the owner and he's like over there training hard, but he's also making a fool of himself on Instagram. It's like, I don't know. I think it's fun.
Hey, gym owners, are you looking for a way to generate more leads, close more sales, and increase client retention? Introducing Kilo. We are a software company that gives gym owners the tools they need to increase revenue and run a successful gym. With Kilo, you get a beautifully designed website to capture more leads, an integrated marketing automation platform to increase sales, and our gym management software so you can add new client memberships, process payments, and organize your class schedule. If you're ready to upgrade your gym management software, book a call at usekilo.com.
Do you identify as a powerlifting gym? Because I notice your TikTok, you're Unleashed Powerlifting, but everywhere else you're Unleashed Strength Gym. But on your Google from the owner, the first thing I see is, we love our powerlifting section.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're not strictly powerlifting gym. We have a lot of powerlifters, if that makes sense. And so I try to, it depends like who I'm talking to, I think, because you can train for anything at the gym. And when we first opened, it was very much, there were barbells, there were deadlift platforms and some squat racks. And it was a very simple setup. But I mean, machine wise, obviously machines are expensive, hard to come by. And really like, we didn't have as much money to start up with. And so it was very much bare bones. And so over the years, I mean, we have probably tripled our equipment lineup at this point, and you can train for literally anything, any kind of movement you want to do there. We've got, 2 full body lineup of machines, plate loaded and selectorized. So we've got all sorts. We've got, obviously, I'd say like our most loyal, we've got like a good crew of like kind of the younger crew of like gym bros and general fitness goers that are a little, got them consistency. And then we've got the powerlifting crew that are there, 4 or 5 days a week and like do every event, and they're there regularly. And then, but we've got a ton of general fitness people for sure. And let's see, how old is this? This is pretty old. It seems
2021.
Yeah.
You're but that makes sense because your access membership is pretty cheap, right? What do you charge for access?
So we're 60 now, 60 a month, which, yeah, I don't think it's too bad. The closest other powerlifting gym now is like over 100 a month. So if you're looking for like more specialty equipment, plus like boutique, I mean, it's funny because I'll get some people and they'll, go, well, I'm paying $20 a month at my other gym. Like, can you come down? And I was like, well, you're going to Planet Fitness. I'm not going to be able to like meet you there, but and it's cool. We've gotten better at just saying no. Like, sorry, like if you don't see a value in like what we're offering, like that's okay. Like we, we want people. I have other people that walk in and just like immediately like, yes, this is
Get it.
exactly what I want. Like a little more old school, a little grungier, like try not to be dirty. Like I don't want it to be like, ugh. I love how rusty and nasty it is. And I was like, I don't want to hear that. But like, I like the old school feel and the iron and the, not everything is just like, I don't know. It's just, it has a good like homey feel. Yeah. Those are my favorite clients when they just walk in like, yeah, this is exactly how much. They don't even care how much it is. I could tell them whatever I wanted and they would just sign up. So I've gotten better at that too. We were pretty cheap when we were 39 was our asking rate. We've just kind of done small increases over time. Some people are still grandfathered in at pretty cheap, but yeah.
So you mentioned a lot of your revenue has now transitioned to personal training, much more than it was in the past. So when someone does come into the gym, is it still mostly for access and then later on you upsell them? Do you get a mix of people inquiring for PT and the access, or how does the ascension process, I guess, work?
Yeah, it's definitely been a mix. We don't have the system of like upsell as dialed in as we want to. I feel like I've got a little team of trainers now, so we're constantly like really, this year has been big for me for like putting in place like systems and kind of more detailed processes on stuff. Our incoming leads and inquiries are usually it's pretty split. So we kind of just ask them up front just so that we know how to treat them essentially, and not treat them, but how to talk to them essentially, and what to highlight with our offerings or whatever. And I've been kind of highlighting that to the guys, right off the bat when someone walks in, get that info right off the bat. So when we do our tour, even just that, making sure they're powerlifters, they don't care our line of, cardio looks like so much. If we ever treadmill, cool, it's there. Let's go highlight the powerlifting stuff, so we've gotten good at kind of that assessment. We call it same thing with what Two Brain does with their no sweat intro. So we get them in for if they're interested in training at all. Either myself or one of our trainers sits them down, go over the whole prescriptive model and talk about their history and experience and really give them a full prescription solution based on what they're looking for. If they're looking for that small group, that one-on-one, what we really encourage people doing is, doing that month or two of that one-on-one just to kind of really get in that feel. And then we try to change this into like a small group. It's a little more scalable, but then I pay our trainers really well too. So they're all happy no matter what kind of clients we get.
And what's the average personal training client look like for you? Because I look at all the imagery on the site and it's, it goes either way. It's either some guy deadlifting 700 pounds or, it's somebody that looks like they're just beginning.
Yeah. No, and that's, we definitely try to like make sure of pictures because I don't want either way, it's something that we've been not struggling with, but I've just been kind of thinking about a lot lately, just from our imagery, because I know they say like you can't serve all these different markets. So it's like, how do you cut off a certain customer clientele just to focus on your branding and your, smaller demographics, or do you try to like figure out how to fit both? And I think so far we've done a fine job of doing like kind of been able to keep that balance. And one of the pictures I think on the website is my mom. She's in her late 70s, at our powerlifting mock meet, pulling 135 for the first time. So that was like everyone's over there yelling and whatever. So I try to use that picture a lot just from like a hey ladies, hey, people over 50, over 60, like it's so you can come here too. I'd say our general PT clients is actually a pretty big mix because we've got with the small group, it's been fun because we've been able to, now that we have grown that program a little bit, we've been able to kind of group people together a little more by like experience and backgrounds and goals. So one of my guys has a ladies group. He's got four younger ladies. They're in their mid 20s, I think now, and they're all doing like more barbell strength training. So they all meet together. They all didn't know each other before. Now they're all good friends and working out at the gym, and he trains them once a week, and they all got, powerlifting and strength training goals, which is really cool. I've got another group of ladies that all train together, and they're all 50 plus that train in the evenings, with one of my other trainers. So it's pretty broad. I'd say mostly though that like 40s and up is like our main clientele, especially a lot of the one-on-ones.
Yeah. I feel like, when you're Keel client, you come on the podcast, you get free side advice. I feel like we should swap this photo in the personal training spot instead of this one, because I don't think this guy's got a personal. I don't think this dude is paying for personal training.
Yeah, no, that's really good. The live audit is good. I'm actually going through. I just emailed you guys last night actually with some changes for the website. So I
There you
can,
go.
as we work through
Cool.
these updates, I'm going to mark that one as well.
People helping people.
Cool. Zero chance I'll be receiving those, but just a general observation after
was gonna email you
talking through
directly,
the problem here. So
No, I definitely appreciate it. I'm not sure if you know who those guys are, but Kevin Oak, the dude squatting is monster powerlifting, legend. He was one of the first ones, I think, to squat 800 in sleeves, like at a comp. And the guy spotting him there, Ben Pollock, another just insane powerlifting legend. And they had come, I mean, that was a few months into our opening that they came by, and he was just visiting. Kevin Oak was just visiting from New York just for the weekend. And Ben Pollock came by. He was actually a member for a little bit. And they were both, yeah, it was pretty surreal to have them in the gym so early on.
that makes it way funnier as the personal training photo.
So, no, that's a fantastic point, to be honest.
Oh, the small group one's good. There we go. Okay, the small group one, you got the avatar going. That's nice.
So we've been talking a little about the members coming in, things that they're interested in. Something we talked about a little bit before we started recording was the kind of community aspect you've been able to cultivate. I guess, what are some of the things that you think you're doing in the gym that's unique, that has been able to cultivate this cool kind of group of people? I always find it interesting, especially with like an access gym where you're not always in front of people in a class setting, to kind of, I'm curious how people build that community piece. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that, some of the unique things you think you're doing there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the big things is just being still so physically involved. And that's something that it'll be interesting as we can continue to scale. Like I'm really like actively thinking about how to get more, staff assistance, so I can kind of step back and work on, the classic work on the business instead of in the business kind of thing. And so as of now, though, and through this 6 years, I have been so physically present. And so just being so involved with members workouts. I mean, I'm spotting people every day. I always talked about this earlier, but our events, we've been doing monthly events pretty consistently since we started, either whether it's lighthearted competitions or we've hosted powerlifting meets, or we do a mock meet every year. And again, just being really involved with that. We recently started doing every first Saturday morning, we do pancake breakfast at the gym. So I'm literally there with my griddle, cooking pancakes on my desk, and people come in and sign up, and I'm like, I'll get you after. I got to flip these cakes real quick, So it's just like, I'd like to think people see that and know that it's like, hey, these guys, my wife and I like care very deeply about the gym and about the community and want to see everyone be successful. So I think that does go a long way. And I think, like I said, that'll be a challenge and something to continue figuring out as we grow. And if we open more locations or whatever it is, just being able to stay involved and stay very connected to our membership base. We actually just moved back closer to the gym for a number of life reasons, but one of them being so that I can be, continue to be involved and really like take back a few more hours and really be there and be present. So I think that's been a big thing, along with the events has been huge. Even just like, the other day we just got a new pendulum squat in. That was a 6-hour project, just me building it, and how many people saw just like, again, us in there building it, putting in the work and everything. So I think that's been huge from a community event or a community side of things. And then I think too, just like a lot of the people that we have at the gym staffing, and that we've always, from, again, myself, my wife, and then our trainers, everyone is very much a community builder. And I think it's just important from a welcoming, at the door, to being helpful, to being, you're never bothered. I even stopped working out with headphones. If I'm working out when I'm staffing, like, I don't want to be in the zone in my own world. Like, I need to be able to like be present for other people. So if someone needs to grab me and I'm unapproachable, like, that's a problem for me. That's a problem for our members, right? So I think it comes down to, and then, you can even just like reference back to what we were talking about earlier with the social media, just like being more approachable instead of, and I joke with people all the time, is like, I asked someone, hey, are you on this bench? Was a hop on, and they're like, Joe, you could kick me off. It's your gym. Like, Like, no, it's not though. Like, that's not the mentality I have about it. And again, sounds cheesy, but it's like, it is true. It's like, this is our gym. Like, you guys are just as much a part of this. Like, I don't have any more right to a piece of equipment than you do. So, and I think just having that mentality when you truly believe it and truly hold to that, like it definitely comes forward and people realize that. And, in addition to the communication and the events and involvement. So I think that all kind of bundles together to form that community feeling.
You mentioned events a few times, both before and during this show. What are some of the bangers for you? Like, we're always looking for interesting event ideas and people who are doing fun stuff that the community gets around.
So I have to talk about some of the classics and then talk about some of my more experimental ones. So we have ever since. So we were going to set it. So we opened it in August. Our first year, we were going to have our mock meet in April. So it's a chance for everyone to come out, do a squat, bench, deadlift day. Get some judges, get a platform, make it feel like a meet without it being the competitiveness and stress of a meet. That got delayed because of COVID. We were physically closed, but we pushed it down. We're like, you know what? Let's just do it in August. That's our anniversary. So now every year on our anniversary, we host our mock meet, and we recently started making that free for all our members. So we have like a cap on signups, but every year we've got people who have never done powerlifting before, and or people who are veterans. I've had people who come in, pull 700 pounds too at our mock meet too. I've done it a couple of times, just had fun with it. I think I'm going to do it this year. Getting a couple of the veteran guys to do it with me just for fun this year. But every year we've got people who have never done an SBD day like that, come in and try powerlifting for the very first time, and everyone's screaming at them, yelling at them, and hyping them up, and everyone hits PRs, and it's super fun. So like that's a really fun community annual event that everyone looks forward to every year. We've done powerlifting meets. We have had several sanctioned meets. This actually past April, we had we call it the semi-pro, kind of a knock on one of the powerlifting meets that was they called it the Virginia Pro, and it was big, many $1,000 prize pools, and they were giving away money. We did the semi-pro, and it also gave away, we used to take all the money that we'd make from registration fees and put it right back to prize pools. And we actually had 30 lifters roll by this year, and it's really competitive this year. We had someone squat 750. We had just some like 6 or 7 guys pull mid sixes. It was awesome. So that was really competitive this year. That's been our biggest, like, as an unsanctioned meet, but we give away $3,000 in cash prizes. So that's like, we're going to try to keep building that one up every year and try to make that bigger and bigger and try to, build the hype with that one. So that's cool. From our, we always do, like, we've done pancake breakfast. We've done taco bars. We've done like squat taco, where you do like, a certain amount of rep, like have a little taco bar, and then there's some sort of squat competition, as many, put your body weight on the bar, or 1.5 body weight for as many reps in a minute. So it's the same thing with like bench, stuff like that.
How do the tacos tie in?
So when we first started out, we actually one year literally I fed somebody tacos. No, someone fed me tacos while I squatted, and that was wild, but that was kind of just for the memes. But in recent past, we've done like a taco bar, and then you go and squat or whatever. So not necessarily directly related, but one of my more, I guess, the more creative like events, it was like a lot more work, but last year we did, it was super, super fun. We rented out like a big field and had, we call it the Summer Games. And so it was 8 teams of 6 people, and it was all unrelated gym events. So that wasn't related to the gym at all, but they were just like yard games. And it was really fun. From same thing, free event. We had like 5 or 6 competitions. It was like, a 3-legged race, but your whole team was strung together. It was balancing an egg on a spoon, and everyone had like blow up wands, and they all had the last man standing kind of thing. So we had all these competitions, and we had 48 people compete, and a lot of people that didn't know each other beforehand walked away super good friends. And so like things like that, it was a lot of fun running it. We were going to do it again this summer. Actually, everyone was like asking to bring it back. So it was a lot of work, but it was super fun. And like the people, I think when you build a community like that, and people make friends, and then they bring their other friends, and then you go to the gym, and when it's fostering like those friendships, I think is huge. And going back to that community side of things, because when you go to the gym, not just to check it off the box, but go to actually like hang out and enjoy yourself there with people that you care about, it makes it a lot more easy to be consistent, makes you a lot more loyal to that gym and setting. So I really like those kind of events that foster those friendships and people meet each other, people walk away as best friends. Like it's cool. So I like doing that stuff a lot.
So gym's about what, 4,500 square feet?
It was, and then we expanded about a year and a half ago. Is it 2 years now? Oh my gosh, time flies. So we have 6,000 square feet now.
Okay. So it's a little bit on the smaller side for like a just primarily access based gym, larger than some of like the straight barbell clubs we've talked to. What do the economics look like? Like, where do you cap out at member wise in a space that size?
It's super interesting because I remember when we had, 100 members, and we'd have a busy night and be like, how are we going to fit however many members we want to grow to? We're going to need more space really quickly because, all 20 people wanted to come at the same time on 5 o'clock at Tuesday night or whatever. But it's been interesting because we've continued to grow, and obviously we've opened up. We've definitely like taken over more and more space. So we had a lot of inefficiencies in the layout initially that we've improved. We had walls that we took down. We had some access ramps that were like really unnecessary that we took out. We expanded, obviously, like I said, last year, and so that gave us that extra room. But I remember going from a point where we had 18 or 20 people in the gym at once, and it was like felt claustrophobic. And now we have 20 people in the gym, and it feels just like a chilled another day kind of thing. So there's been a lot of like improvements that have helped a lot. Plus, it's just like the nature of the gym. Fortunately and unfortunately, the people that sign up and don't come, so we're out. They start real consistent and they kind of fall off. So like that's a natural part of the gym. And there's also a lot of self-balancing with it. So we are 24 hours. So I know that there's definitely been times when it's like, oh my gosh, Tuesday night for some reason has been a popular evening for a long time. I know people who just like stopped coming Tuesday night because they're like, I'm going to work out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever it is, instead of Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever. They adjust, and having that 24-hour access really spreads people out. So we definitely have room to grow, which is nice. Our lease is, we're still in our lease for a little while, but there's room for growth. And then obviously like with our small group and the one-on-one training, able to get like, we don't need, you get higher ticket clients, which has been huge too. So, we're at a little over 600 members right now, all, including gym access and personal training clients. And there are some nights when it gets busier than others for sure, but because of the current layout, the expansion, and people kind of, spreading out and working in with each other and stuff, hasn't been a problem lately.
Because it sounded crowded to me as I was reading through it, 600, and well, we missed the expansion. So I was like 4,500 square feet, 600 members. It's all powerlifting and strength stuff. So it takes up a ton of space. But that's cool that you're thinking space efficiency. That sounds like, you're reading the right stuff.
Sun is popping up behind me.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, so I stole his room, but yeah, so it's definitely a constant problem. I mean, we just got 2 new pieces, and like one of them, it ended up like just building it in a certain space, like thinking I was going to move it, but it kind of like, oh, this actually works just right here, and just left it alone. So it's constant battle of like, how can we squeeze a little more space out of this current layout, and then constantly analyzing too. It's like, what is being used more than others. We did a big survey to our members last year too, which was cool. Just like, I asked very pointed questions, like, what is the least useful piece of equipment in this gym, basically? Because if you just say like, what piece don't you like, it's hard for people to think sometimes, or just they don't want to say, oh, everything's fine, whatever. But if you make them answer something that what's something you really is like a waste of space, and I had a lot of good answers, and they're like, just give you a lot of insight on like, okay, where can I make these improvements? These pieces aren't being used very much. What's, a pendulum squat was a huge request on that last survey that we did, but we had a hack squat too. The hack squat and the pendulum squat are pretty redundant, and they're both huge pieces. We can't have both, but so it's just always constantly like, I kind of describe it as like constantly making little bets, basically, that like the upgrade, the decision you make for your business is going to pay off, obviously, like gonna be received by more people than it is not received poorly by less people, whatever it is. So I think it's constantly with those equipment selections. I made equipment swap out last year and I got a bunch of negative feedback, unfortunately. Like, oh, where'd my chest press go? Like, I got a better one. Like, no, it's not as good. I'm like, oh man, like I thought it was an upgrade. So that's always disappointing when that happens. But yeah, just the constantly making little bets and making your best guess.
This kid's a legend. It's just
Yeah.
he just pops in screen over your shoulder, and then there it goes. Now he's got.
There he goes.
That's awesome. Yeah. So speaking of that, you and your wife are both full time in the business, right?
Yeah. So she was super, influential and a huge part of it. When we first started, especially, we only had our oldest son at that point, and I was still working full time. So we were like super involved together in like the opening and staffing and everything. I was working on my other job, and then I'd go after the gym. She would, staff during the day with our then 2-year-old. So it was a lot. It was definitely a big sacrifice, and she put a ton into it. And then we lived pretty close for a long time. She was able to be really involved, and then we moved farther away last, a couple of years ago. It's what we thought was going to be our a longer term home, but it didn't quite work out. We ended up having twins actually at the end of 2024.
I saw that you're up to 4 kids, right? That was my follow-up question.
Yeah. So we've got 4 kids, and we had the twins. They were in the hospital for a little while. We were, and then that following year was rough. One at a time is honestly a cakewalk comparatively to twins. So the year, following their birth was definitely like a different look, and took some adjusting and stuff. And so, one of the reasons we left our home and kind of got closer to the gym. So it's a little easier setup. We have less yard. We don't have a yard. It's a brand new condo. So it's kind of simplifying life. And we figured like from a priority standpoint, what is our priority? And we need convenience, we need simplicity. And this was like kind of the solution. So we're super happy to be where we are now. But yeah, so she was, my wife was very much involved, and now she actually does photography, and she did wedding photography for a long time. And right now she's taking care of these 4 crazy kids. So
I was going to say that sounds very difficult.
Speaking of division of labor, so how big is the staff? I know you have trainers on staff. Who else do you need to run this operation?
Sure. So another thing that's been a big kind of goal of mine over the past, I guess it's been 2 years. It first started as kind of like a couple friends who were like, let me help out. Then it was like, okay, well, if you're just helping out, I can't really, hard to tell you what to do, it's kind of, and now if I need to criticize what you're doing, it's like awkward because I don't pay you, or you just get a free, whatever it is. So same thing with kind of like how the training was. We took that more seriously and started systematizing and had a couple rough hires initially or back and forth. Now we've got like a really strong, basically I've got 2 guys that help me staff throughout the week. I'm mostly there, but my Sundays are off. I've got a couple other half shifts covered. 1 guy's there now till 2. That's really nice. And then I'm getting more of that like admin stuff off my plate. The 2 guys that are staff right now are also trainers. So they kind of, they're 1099s and W-2s. So it works out well because if they need to, the client can come in and I need a trainer. I'm also a trainer, and they pop right. So I don't have to manage more and more people, which is nice too. So, and then I've got a separate cleaner. Actually, my sister-in-law, same thing, hired more officially. Here's your task list, 3 days a week, deep cleans, whatever. So that's been working really well. So right now, 3 other staff besides myself. I'm considered now full-time staff, 3 other part-timers, and then I've got 4 trainers who are on contracts.
Nice. Cool. And then I guess, how are you dividing your time now, right? So you're posting stuff on Instagram, you're making videos, you're making pancakes once a month. You're also on the floor, you're spotting people. Yeah. How do you divide up your time, and where are you focusing your efforts, and what's your day to day?
That's a good question for sure. I've found my, I use ClickUp for my calendar. That's been really helpful just for my to-do list, my recurring things, and it's kind of constantly like adjusting that. So again, another cliche, but every day is different as far as like what's gonna, what the task lists are to do. From paying certain bills to, this week, because we got a huge equipment delivery, so that was a lot of my week last week was assembling equipment, moving stuff around, kind of just like getting things organized. So thankfully having some of those, I hate to say it, but just like the lower effort things that are a little more repetitive that I can just hand off to my staff at this point has been really helpful, following up with a lot of outstanding payments and, cancellation forms and all those kind of things that I can kind of are not on my plate anymore, which is really nice. So it's a mix. I still do definitely get some admin stuff, dealing with some customers here and there, signups, equipment purchasing and managing. Content has been something that's I've definitely been trying to focus on a little more lately, just because I know I want to try to continue that. And I really enjoy that side of things, to be honest.
Do you have a process for that? Like once a week I'm figuring out ideas, then I'm filming on another day, or?
No, I don't have it yet. I've been trying to. It's in my calendar as a process, and inevitably it kind of transitions to a little more sporadic. So that's definitely been a challenge I've been working through.
So with the 4 kids, the gym, what's next for you? Are you looking to expand, do multi-location, or just continue to make things better at your existing one day after day?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit up in the air right now. We've got about 2 years left on our current lease. And so then we kind of, need to, we need to know a year out from our end of our lease to kind of have like what we're going to do, give the notice, to the landlord if we're moving, if we're growing, or we want to open a second location. So it's a little bit up in the air right now. I sometimes open up LoopNet, the commercial real estate website, here and there, just to like scope out, where are some locations out there? What are some things that are opening right now or coming soon or whatever? Like just to, brainstorm a little bit. I found some good locations here and there. Another gym just opened up not too far away that kind of took up a certain area that we were potentially thinking of. So I'm like constantly like thinking about new ideas for sure. I personally have a mindset of like always entertaining any idea. I feel like, not that I'm going to act on it, but just like, what would that look like? I was talking to we've got a guy that trains, say, MLB player. Actually, was in the league for like 17 years, and now he's got a whole baseball program up here. And we train one of his guys, and he's made a ton of progress. And he's raving about how awesome, like how his fastball got 9 miles an hour faster, and he's looking all jacked and everything. So it was cool. But he wants to, he and I were brainstorming. It's like, how could we open a training facility together where we give me the gym, give me a 10,000 square foot gym. You take the rest, whatever it is, for your fields and athletics and whatever. So we've all been brainstorming at this point. Nothing for sure right now. Initially, I was always like, let's just keep getting like a bigger and bigger location. But then, I've definitely contemplated, especially as I've been able to get better systems in place. We're still working on it. Still a lot to learn and kind of get implemented in our current system. I don't want to open another location until I have that really like figured out, I feel like. But as that's gotten better this past year, it has definitely opened up my thought process on potentially more locations. And to me at that point, especially like with like our brand and like the community involvement and that kind of thing, it really comes down to who that manager would be, and I think finding really the right person that I could hand a building to and say, I know they're going to run this the way we want to run it. So I think that really comes down to like making sure we have the right person in place for that too.
So for those of us on the edge of our seats, where do we follow along on your journey?
Sure. Well, you know what? After this conversation, we're posting on TikTok again for sure. So, we're at Unleash Strength on all, I guess, our major socials, on Instagram, on TikTok. I had YouTube for a little bit, and I've trying to figure out what to do on YouTube. But and go back to content. It's like I know the examples and how to deadlift and how to squat and how to, like, they're important, but I just like there's so many out there that I just like don't want to make another tutorial on how to deadlift, I guess, and so I've tried to get a little more like original, and YouTube is very much those long form content. It's like maybe like I've tried some vlogging there, tried some shorts, tried some different stuff there. So anyway, Unleash Strength, Instagram, TikTok is going to be the best place.
And Teo, where do people go if they want to find us?
Yeah, if you want to be like Joe and have an awesome looking website showcasing not just world-class powerlifters, but also world-class moms, you can go to usekilo.com gymlead.com, and we will help you get yourself a website just like that one. And then, of course, if you need help with your lead management, following up with sales, getting people enrolled, you can check out our Gym Lead Machine product as well. And then once they are coming into the gym and ready to buy, you can check out our Kilo Gym Management software for all of your schedule and membership building needs. And we can help you out. All three of those things, go to usekilo.com. Get yourself a call today.
That's beautiful. And, if you got value out of this, finding guys like Joe willing to share all their secrets with you, show you how to get 600 members and famous powerlifting people in your gym, you better follow this. You better leave us a nice comment. Talk about how you like Teo's hat. And
Great hat.
we'll continue doing
Thanks.
it because it's hard. It's hard to show up every week, and I'm sure Joe knows he has to do it every day, which is even worse. I don't even know how that short form game is an animal. So we'd appreciate it if you showed the show a little love. And if you do, we'll catch you next week, Gym World. We love you very much. Goodbye.